Welcome back to the channel. Now on this video, I do want to continue the conversation here regarding card acquisition and some of the ways that you may want to take a look at as far as navigating the shop and which cards to get. Now let's get right into it. Now Second Dinner recently did put out this blog that we're currently looking at here, right? And they did touch base, regarding the elephant in the room. And real quick, I'll just read this. It says, that being said, the biggest complaint we still hear is pretty consistent, catching up to the meta, whether you're new or a returning player, right? And this just confirms what we've known all along, right? That, the issue here is returning players not having access to these cards. And it looks like they are aware of it, and hopefully later in the year, maybe they can debut a fix for it, right? They do go over on to say some other things, right? They're going to be working on better performances, crashes, bugs, etc., that kind of thing, right? Now on this video, I did want to focus essentially on the conversation with, okay, well, the game is going to continue in this state for now, right? But I'm a returning player. Maybe I have 30, 40, 60 cards that I'm still missing. How do I pull these cards? So I did want to go over some of those pain points in this video. As far as series drops not coming that often these days, one of the things that I wanted to go over real quick is how to utilize your tokens when buying the cards, right? When you're very behind, it might be hard to get back up top when you have a lot of missing cards, right? Currently, I am missing these cards right now: Jack Flag, Drax, Magus, Moondragon, Kraglin. And then I also have these two from last batch. But these are about to get dropped because I don't want to keep these cards, right? So I purposely have been waiting for these to drop down into the other pack, which that literally looks like it just happened, right? And because of that, these two cards are no longer going to be inside of the seasonal series 5. They'll be dropping down to the regular series 5, right? The difference there being 1,000 tokens. This is 5,000, this is 4,000. So I've been waiting for these to drop because I rather open them inside of this pack. That's exactly what just happened there, right? These are the other cards that I'm missing from the regular series pack, and I'd rather use the newer cards from this season to go into this seasonal pack here, as it just reloaded in front of us. So now I have, these are the new cards, right, that are just being added. So now if I decide to pull from this 5,000 token, I can have these in mind as well as possibilities. So I may be able to pull, this is looking like a very solid card, this Iska card, right? At a turn, if you're losing this location, double this card's power. So I really want to get this card, right? I'm not going to get the super premium pass, and that's how you would normally get that card. So I rather just pull for it. So I wanted to make sure that the other two cards were not a part of that pull. I'd rather have these two cards be a part of that pull, so I can potentially pull this one if I decide to do that. The other thing that I've been doing myself is, kind of trying to get this Series 5 pack lowered as much as I can. I'm still missing these cards: Clea, Phantom X, Headpool, Jim Hammond, Ling Lie, Shang-Chi, Master of the Rings, Stardust, and Warlock. And like I said, these two just dropped in here. Before I was just missing these right here. Right, so now if I'm going to pull out of this 4,000 token pack, I'm going to hopefully get Ling Lie, which is what I'm looking for, or Phantom X, or Clea, or I think the best card in here is Stardust. I think this is a very, very good card. Very underrated tech card. Just shuts down whole archetypes. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing. Matter of fact, here, let's open a pack. There it is, Stardust. Been waiting for this card. So when I claim Stardust there, and since I was able to kind of bring that to existence, I really want to try to get this Ling Lie as well. So let's go for that one more time. Got Jimmy Hammond. All right, and this is kind of what I've been doing to try to get myself up to series complete, right? I've been trying to cut down on my pack. I used to have about 12 cards here, and little by little I've been lowering them by just getting different cards here and there. And I think that that's kind of like the best way to try to be series complete or try to get close to that. I would suggest don't, try to chase the newest card, the trendiest card. I know that sometimes, that's kind of what we want to do. And I've done it myself. I spent 6,000 tokens, 5,000 tokens. But this way, I think that it does help bring your list down. And eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to get this Jeff variant. And so eventually it gets to a point where you've been chiseling down at the Series 5 pack, like I have been here. And the only cards I have left are these three, right? Clea, Phantom X, Warlock. I was able to get a couple of the other ones, so I'm down to this, right? New cards have been coming into the seasonal Series 5. So I have Gambit there now, which is a good card, right? So I now have two out of the three that I kind of want out of the new cards. And then I have all of these from last season. And I just don't personally feel that like Moondragon and Drax or even Jack Flag, are kind of like on the same level as Gambit or Iska, right? So I don't give that 5,000 token value for these cards. So then these cards feel like kind of like dragging down my pull on these, right? Which kind of affects the decision making, right? So the question is, okay, so do I want to wait 3 weeks until those drop into this pack, right? And then try to get them for 4,000. And right now there's a little bit of a sale for 3,600, which is great, right? As far as trying to get these cards down. Now, it kind of depends on every player, right? If you have a pool of Series 5 cards, let's say you haven't played for a couple of months or whatever, you may be missing 30, 40, 60 cards or whatever, right? So, that decision, it always comes down to different people as far as how much you've been keeping up with the game. I still I keep saying the same thing here, which is like they need to do a series drop, immediately. That's kind of what a lot of the old cars really need, right? So you kind of have to play along with decision making with how it is that you want to spend those resources is very important, right? Another thing to keep in mind as well that I wanted to go over real quick is this track right here for your cards, right? So another way for me to spend the gold is to try to get this track moving forward, and then these cards have different things that you're able to get, right? So you can get tokens throughout this track as well. So that's another way to kind of get some of those tokens that you may be needing for the cards. So all of that is kind of linked together, right? As well as with the season pass, right? So for example, right now I really want Iska and even Gambit, right? So if I'm going to wait, let's say those 3 weeks for these cards to drop down to the other pack so I can get them for a cheaper price, um, I don't necessarily want to have to wait that long, right? So it might be worth it in this case for me to then buy this season pass. And I'm always a big proponent of getting the season pass anyway, right? I just haven't gotten this one this month so far. But this just kind of reinforces my decision to yes, I should absolutely buy it, and not necessarily because the card is good, right? But because it just makes more sense as far as what I'm trying to accomplish in the long run, which is to be series complete. So that way, every week when I get a new card, I can just get it for 5,000 instead of 6,000, right? And it's just trying to maximize your tokens within the game as much as possible. And by the way, did you notice too how I had to click out of the screen to go to the season pass card, right? And that's because he's not featured here, right? Like I have to go into the main menu to then go into the season pass to be able to see that card, right? And this is actually a little bit of a deeper issue that we currently have in the game, which is that the season pass card, while he's live, meaning the month that the card came out, that season pass card is not present in the shop, right? Like I have no way of buying it in the shop. I have to go to the other screen, right? And that kind of creates an issue because the card doesn't come to the actual shop until after it's left, right? So there's going to be a down period where you don't have access to be able to purchase the card. And I think that this kind of helps it just by adding it, right? So meaning the month that it comes out, right? So yeah, okay, still have this track with the season pass, but In Sabanor needs to just be solo, like without the second skin, right? That you get included in here as a bonus right? He just needs to be regular in the shop, be able to be purchased as well. This is something that I think that, or hopefully, after the recent comments that they've made, that they're going to work on some of the, the coding of the game, and hopefully this is something that they have in their radar, where they need to kind of add this card, right? That there should never be a downtime where I don't have access to be able to purchase the card, right? Because next month comes out, the new season pass card comes out, and then I won't have access to be able to purchase Ensabanor. So if I miss the season pass, I have to wait a whole month, and that doesn't make sense. The card is out. I should be able to purchase the last season. For example, I don't have a way right now to get Star Lord, Master of the Sun, which is last season pass, right? In the current season, we have to wait a whole month, and I believe that that's because that card, there's no slot for it. And I think if they create a widget here with the season pass, I should be able to purchase Star Lord, and that's not something that's currently in the game. Another thing to keep in mind is when you buy from the web shop, which is shop.marvelsnap.com, you get a free Series 5 when you buy the season pass, right? So essentially, by me buying the $10 season pass, I get the season pass card and Sabanor, but I also get a free card, which would be one of these three, right? So let's say I do that, and let's say I get, I don't know, Clay or whatever, right? So then the next poll would only be a 50-50 between these two, and I can currently get it for a little bit less than that, right? And even if I buy the $20 version of the season pack, it gives me Iska, who in this case happens to be a good card, right? So this lowers this pool as well for me, right? So I think in this case, it makes sense for me to do that, and I'm probably going to go ahead and do that. So that way I would get Iska, I would get a free card out of these three from buying it on the shop, and I still am getting a little bit of a discount that I'm able to then get another one of those cards, so I can get it down to just one card, right? And then here, then I can still pull if I really want to pull for 5, including these and whatever new card comes into the pool tomorrow, since this is about to change. Yeah, another thing to keep in mind as well is that there's another way to get cards in the game as well, which is through limited game time modes, right? So in this case, we have Team Clash that's currently running here, right? And there is a way to get cards and emotes that way, just by playing the game and advancing the track, right? And I have been playing it, and that's how I was able to get the limited time mode card. This one is Sandstorm, and you get that for free just for playing the game, right? I already got it. However, you are able to buy this premium pass for, I believe it's 800 gold. Okay, now I always recommend this, to be quite honest with you. What this does is, if you don't want to play the game mode and you want the card, you can just purchase it, and you pretty much, even if you just have to play like a couple games, you're going to get the card regardless, right? But not only that, in my opinion, is always worth it, even if somebody like myself, that you're going to play the game and still get the card for free. It's always a good value because of the amount of things that you get extra collector tokens there, you get a bunch of borders, and even more tickets. I actually think that they give you too many tickets. I would rather they would give me something else, like a Series 5 or a Series 4 card pack in here, right? Maybe something else. I just feel like they kind of overwhelm you with those, and kind of unnecessary. But they're still always really good value, right? So why haven't I purchased it? I don't know. Let's buy it right now. And I get a bunch of extra things that I'm also able to use in the shop. And I like buying, like emotes and other variants for cards. And they always have really cool rotating ones. And I think I just saw one a second ago. What did I just see? This Khonshu is pretty cool, right? So I could buy this Khonshu for 1,500 if I want to do that. And they have other things that you're able to get as well. Like, I'm gonna get this emote because I'm a big fan of emotes. So you get those extra goodies, and the game is still running, right? You get to play the game. There is missions. There's a bunch of stuff that I haven't collected yet. There's missions that you can clear as well, right? And they give you more progression. So it's always a good idea to, even if you don't want to play the games, whether it's this one or Deadpool Diner, or the Sanctum Showdown, It's always a good idea just to check in. And like I said, I think that it's always worth it to get the pass so you can just get the card. And that way you're always able to stay on top of the card. Because remember, if you don't get the card in the mode, the card is eventually going to show up in the shop for you, right? So this is yet another card that you're going to have to spend collector tokens, right? So this is very valuable. So you want to try to minimize how many cards are going to end up going in your pack. And so I went ahead and I got the season pass. So now the new card has reloaded for this week. And this is what my pack looks like now, right? So I no longer have the bonus season pass card here. I have Caliban included in there. And I'm going to wait the 2 weeks so that way these cards can drop down, right? And because I got it on the web shop, I was able to get, looks like Phantom X. So now my next purchase is going to be a 50-50 between these two. Let's actually do that real quick. And I got Warlock. So the only card I have left currently in my Series 5s is going to be Clea, right? But like I said, most likely going to end up getting Clea before the 2 weeks, right? When these other cards move down. So once that happens in 2 weeks, then I'll have these cards here and I'll most likely, work on these cards after that. And that's kind of where I'm at, going between the 4,000 and the 5,000 packs. But for the most part, I've been trying to dwindle down the 4,000 packs to try to get myself series complete that way. And I'm not, sweating the good cards that much. I know that Gambit's a good card overall. Juggernaut's okay. We'll see how Caliban ends up being in the next cards to come in the next couple of weeks. And I hope this video was able to give you a little bit more clarity right into your decision making when it goes down to which card you should be getting, right? And I'm actually going to go ahead and claim the season pass for this month. And this is a brand new archetype, the objective archetype, right? So I'm going to slowly start working on these cards next as I start to get them. But I kind of don't really, worry too much about the current cards. I personally, like to try to maximize with the other cards that I currently have and not really worry about the FOMO aspect of it all. But yeah, the other thing too that I wanted to mention real quick, it's going to be, listen, you don't have to do it this way, right? If you want to target a specific card, like for example, if you want Gambit, Gambit is good. You don't want to have to deal with, oh, I don't have the, I have 8,000 tokens and I don't want to risk me trying to pull Gambit, even if it's for 4,000 or whatever. If I wait or, I don't want to have to wait a month or two. Then go ahead and buy him outright for 6,000. You know what I mean? That's always a good idea. If you see a specific card that you may be missing or that you may want, there's nothing wrong with, just flat out purchasing them for that amount. The one thing that I really hope that Second Dinner does work on as well is, we only have this little area here to be able to target a specific card. I really should be able to have the ability to buy every card. This right here should say 6,000. I should be able to just buy whatever card I'm missing, right? Even these cards, like I should be able to just buy the card instead of having to do the pull. Ideally, every card in the collection should have like a button for me to be able to just buy out that card if it's grayed out and I don't have it. Hopefully that's something that Second Dinner will implement down the road in the future with all these new changes, right? There's a lot of room for growth in the game. And I think that, they are able to kind of be, hopefully in the future, a little bit more generous with the player base, especially if the goal is, to try to get them to come back. Another thing, actually, real quick before I go on this video is I think that some of these need to turn into packs, right? Like instead of 3,000, every 10 or 20 levels or or whatever the case may be, every so often, give me a pack, give me a Series 4 pack, give me a Series 5 pack. I feel like, especially for people that are lower collection levels, right? Around the 5,000 or the 10,000 or the 15,000 or whatever the case may be, right? The game should be able to kind of see that and then throw some packs in here, Let's get gold back in here. Like, let's get rid of some of the junk that's not necessarily, like, I feel like this track can also get a little bit of a revival. There's a lot of people don't even pull from this track. I kind of have done that while save up. I'm down to about 12 caches that I can kind of claim real quick. But and another thing that the game could be doing essentially is rewarding the player base that has been sticking around for 3+ years. I think that that's always a good and positive thing. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope that this was informative. Please go ahead, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the bottom of the video. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next video that I'm working on soon.